These are my concessions.
Once and future heavyweight champion of the world, directed by George Tillman II. He directed Soul Food, Men of Honor, and Notorious. Soul Food and Men of Honor must-see films. You can rent them now for $4. Check it out. But this movie stars Chris Davis. If you don't know who Chris Davis is, he's in at least one season of Atlanta. I believe that was season 2. He's really funny in it. I also remember him in Judas and the Black Messiah in a much smaller role.
That shit he's drinking?
Forrest Whitaker's in the film as George's coach, and he doesn't age in this film. Chris Davis plays George from like his early 20s in the very least up until his like 50s or whatever. Forrest Whitaker does not look different at all. They age up Chris Davis and they don't touch Forrest Whitaker. He's like, he just lives. He doesn't age. He just lives. Poppin' or not, somewhere in the middle. I think that this story is interesting. It does have a lot of corny shit that you've seen a lot before, especially in biographical films. But he does have a very interesting story. It is a really good story about redemption and being an underdog, even when you have aged, even if it's not so gracefully. Determination, skill, and even faith, which you don't need to. I'm one that's spiritual, but not like, I won't say I'm a man of faith or God's necessarily, but you know, it's inspiring for someone to find like a new purpose, even if it is a religious experience. It's after Rumble in the Jungle, he went into a bad spot, then a good spot, then an even better spot, winning the title in his 40s or 50s. I can't remember. I don't know the real story. I know about George Foreman more because of the Foreman Grill, to be honest. Fairly good. Don't recommend it for theaters. I recommend it for streaming if you ever want to watch a movie about George Foreman. I guess one main reason it's not necessarily poppin' is because it's a boxing film and it doesn't feel like a boxing film. Like, they didn't work that hard in the boxing matches. That's like my main criticism of it. They could have worked a little harder. Watch in theaters. It's finished John Wick. Stoic determination, grit, bravery, resilience, and hardiness. What's this have to do with the film? In 1944, days away from World War II ending and Nazis losing, and a dangerous ex-military badass nicknamed the Immortal, who isn't quite immortal, he just refuses to die, finds gold and tries to travel past Nazi territory to sell it. Great film. It's a cross between Tarantino and John Wick films. It's a true movie. Every once in a while, you see a movie in theaters, and this is a fucking movie. Have suspension of disbelief, because how he survives some wild shit is unbelievable and like obviously impossible. And his even wilder methods to kill people are jaw-dropping. But the movie's a true ride. It's awesome, super fun. Highly recommend to watch it in theaters. Grab a bunch of friends with you and just make fun of the movie if you want to. Not make fun of it like, this is so bad, but make fun of it like, this is so ridiculous. Very, very fun film. Highly, highly recommend it. Again, a cross between Tarantino and John Wick films. At least check out the trailer and you'll know what I'm talking about. Sisu. I am not that big of a Peter Pan fan, so I wasn't that excited for this movie. I played it on in the background as I was prepping for this episode tonight. It's got very cool cinematography. I love the alligator scene in this movie and in the original movie. That's what I remembered the most, was Captain Hook versus the alligator. That's what I cared about the most. This movie is directed by David Lowery, who directed the very serious and adult Green Knight and the remake to Pete's Dragon. Never saw the original Pete's Dragon. Never saw the live action adaptation. I hear that both are very great. So if you like those, you'll like this. I thought it was great from what I was seeing. I wasn't paying full attention to, but it was very good from what I saw. Apparently, it's got a lot of negative reviews, and I think it's a race thing. Tinkerbell and Peter aren't white, so people are very, very angry. Jude Law is very good as Captain Hook. I wish he was a little bit sillier, but acting-wise, he's very, very good. There's a very serious scene where he's talking about leaving Neverland and all that, and it was very well done. Disney does have a pretty awful history of racism, but they're obviously trying to diversify. Especially when it comes to racial and gender norms. So check this movie out on Disney Plus if you'd like. If you're not a big Peter Pan fan, you're not going to care. It stars Elizabeth Olsen and Jesse Plemons. It's based on a true story. And I don't know about the true story, and I haven't looked into it purposely because I want to be surprised about what happens in the series. If you've seen Candy with Jessica Biel, the story has been done before. You can watch it on Hulu. I haven't even watched that, and I hear great things. All I know is a murder's going to happen. I'm assuming this chick's going to do the murdering. Not sure. But they released the first 3 episodes because nothing like eerie happens until the end of episode 3, where an axe is picked up. But in the first few episodes, all you know is that there's an affair in the 80s. And by that much alone, it's very well made. I think it's interesting. Princess Sophia, she thinks it's boring. If you're watching the show waiting for murder stuff to happen, it's not going to happen in the first 3 episodes. That's why they released all of them already. I recommend it. I will actually be doing a spoiler-full video, not live, on James Gunn and the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm releasing this on Friday, May 5th. It'll be on YouTube, and we will be having a special guest star, King Shark from the Suicide Squad. King Shark, good to see you. How you feeling about Guardians of the Galaxy?
Excited.
That's awesome, dude. What have you been up to since Suicide Squad?
Excited.
Okay, cool. But what have you been up to since Suicide Squad? Like yesterday?
Excited.
Obviously, this is going nowhere.
Subscribe.